What's going on, everybody? My name is Bronson and this is my Astro van named Fred that I have lived in for a total of 70 days. Now, I've been on 2 road trips. The first one lasted about 30 days and the second one lasted about 40 days. So in total, that makes 70 days of living inside of this van right here. Now, in that time, I have learned how to live in a van, how to live on the road, and all that type of stuff. And while doing that, I realized that there's a lot of things that I use on the daily. So today I'm going to be going over 5 things that I use on the daily while living in a van. So when I first started getting into the whole van life thing and I decided I wanted to travel, I actually watched a lot of videos that had this basically same title. This is the same idea. They were all about van lifers telling you what products they use the most. And I noticed that all of the videos were very similar with one thing in common, and it was that they all had an affiliate link to every single product they have. And so there was nothing wrong with that necessarily, but to me, it made it feel like they were just recommending these products and saying that they use them every day just because they were making money off these specific products. Now that kind of made me frustrated because it didn't really seem real to me. They were kind of just recommending them because they could make money. So in this video, all of the products that I'm recommending are things that I actually used. They're things that I seriously used every single day while I was traveling, and I'm not making money off of any of these products. So without any further ado, let's get into the first product. Now, this might sound silly, but the first thing that I used absolutely every single day, more than once guaranteed, is something right inside the van. Paper towels. When you're living in a van, stuff gets real messy really easily, and it's hard to clean stuff up. I have a limited amount of water, and when I'm out in the middle of the desert and I don't have a way to just do dishes like crazy and, use a bunch of water, paper towels come in handy. I mean, just wiping up extra food out of plates and bowls and pots and pans, paper towels came in handy. I got a mess on my counter, paper towels came in handy. I don't have a washing machine, so using a rag to clean stuff up doesn't work out all the time. So seriously, probably more than anything in this entire van build, in the entire van travel that I did for 70 days, paper towels was something that I used more than absolutely anything. The other benefit to paper towels is paper towels can be used to go to the bathroom as well. Just in case. I mean, you're living in a van like this, there ain't no room for a bathroom, so sometimes, you gotta take it out in the woods, and paper towels, they can be your best friend. Now, believe it or not, bathrooms on the road don't come all that often sometimes, so I've trained myself to wait for it. Now, I'd have to say this thing that I use the second most while living in a van is also something kind of obvious. It's dish soap. I use dish soap, all the time for cleaning basically everything. Mostly dishes, of course, as you would assume, but also, believe it or not, on my first road trip, I ended up losing my shampoo like the very first day. And I just used dish soap to wash my hair. I didn't think it worked good, but dude, dish soap works excellent for cleaning your hair. So between cleaning dishes, washing my hair, cleaning other things in the van, like my water bladder for hiking, and just my countertop, stuff like that, honestly, dish soap came in handy so many times, like underestimated right here. And like getting stains out of shirts even when I would go do laundry, like rub some dish soap on there, boom, I can get some stains out and actually look clean. Now, I know dish soap is probably something that's it's obvious, everyone's gonna have it, but honestly, for all the things that I used in the van, dish soap is one of the top 10 things I used. I did use it every single day, at least once, if not twice, 3, 4 times. Honestly, dish soap, number 2, I use this all the time, right behind paper towels. My third most used item, the Chug Jug. Now, this might seem like a weird one to be something that I used on the daily, but honestly it was. This is like basically extra water storage. So this is an Astro van, and as you can see, it is pretty small. I mean, there's not a ton of room in here. And so finding a place for like water storage and propane and everything, I don't have a ton of water storage. I've actually only got a 5-gallon water storage. So, when I'm out in the desert for a long time, 5 gallons, sometimes I get nervous, dude. Like, 5 gallons won't last you a long time. Especially when you're doing dishes, you're drinking out of that water, you're doing everything out of that water. You're cleaning yourself when there's no showers around. 5 gallons doesn't last you as long as you think. And so with this Chug Jug here, I was able to make my water last a little bit longer. This is just 1 gallon. It's just a 1 gallon water container that I got from like Walmart that had water in it before, and I've just continued filling it up whenever there's free water around. And honestly, that's given me mostly just peace of mind by knowing that I have extra water when I need it. You know, there's an extra gallon to get me by. But besides just having peace of mind and having that extra gallon of drinking water, it's also very convenient for filling up my hiking water bladder. You know, I go hiking a lot when I'm traveling around because, of course, I want to see the world, you know, that's the reason I'm traveling. And so when I'm doing a lot of hiking, I, of course, drink a lot of water, and this is 100 times easier filling up my water bladder than my sink is. I mean, this sink is awesome. I just flip the switch and it goes. But trying to do that with a water bladder, it takes a while and it stresses me out because I'm using up my 5 gallons of water, and honestly, this thing is just so nice to have around. Now, there's like 2 reasons for me to have that right now, but the third reason for having this thing around is honestly the best reason. This water container down here that I've got, it is not easy to get out. In and out, it's a pain in the butt. I have it strapped in with a bungee and it doesn't like to come out. And even when I get it out, I have a straw going from the lid down into the water where I can suck it out. And earlier in my last travels, that actually came apart and it was a pain in the butt to fix. There's a whole story behind it. It's not the best, but anyways, that's how it works. That's the system I have, and the less I can take this whole thing out of there, the better it is. So when I go to fill up on water, honestly, I grab this thing, I head over to the water tap, I fill it up all the way, and then I can easily pour it into my 5-gallon water storage. It's a piece of cake. It makes it so much better than pulling out that big 5-gallon water storage and trying to fill it up. I'd honestly rather use this 5 times than pull that out once. It's honestly so much better. I highly recommend going to Walmart, buying yourself a $1 water jug with some fresh water in there, and boom, life's gonna be easier. Now, the 4th most used thing in my van is also something that I honestly used every single day. Now, let's picture this. You live in a van like me, and you travel a lot. I mean, you live in a vehicle, you're gonna be driving on the daily. When I was traveling, I was going to places that I have never been before. I was down in Southern Cali, I was down in Southern Arizona, just all places that I have never been before. So how do I get around? Well, Google Maps, right? I look up a place, it shows me where to go, boom, and easy and done. But holy freaking cow, dude. Is that easy when you're just holding your phone and trying to drive? No. That's why I got an Apple CarPlay stereo. I have an iPhone, so I have Apple CarPlay. But if you have like Samsung, I guess whatever the equivalent to that is, but this stereo right here was a lifesaver. When I was driving around cities, driving around the areas that are just busy in general, having a stereo that has Apple CarPlay where the directions show just right there and I can just focus on driving and just glance down to look at it, lifesaver. Beyond, oh, that saved my life, dude. Trying to get through the city, I went through Las Vegas twice, and just trying to get through the city when it was busy in rush hour, having Apple CarPlay, that saved my life. Plus, like when my dad called me or whatever, let's say my mom or my dad called me, boom, I could answer on there and just talk through the car, still focus on driving. And music, that can play music as well, so it's like a normal stereo. I'm sure all of you have a stereo in your car, but if it doesn't have Apple CarPlay, I highly recommend you get that either in your truck or your van or whatever you're traveling in, because honestly, that is something that I will never go without again, especially in a vehicle that I'm traveling in. Now, unfortunately, on my very, very last day of traveling before I came back home, it died. I have my my AUX on right now, but the screen won't come on, unfortunately. So on my very, very, very last day of traveling on my latest road trip, that thing died, unfortunately. So make sure you invest in a good one if you invest in one. I got the cheapest one I could possibly find. It worked great for about 68 days and then decided to die. But other than that, definitely worth getting. Now, number 5. Number 5 is extremely important. I didn't use it physically, like I never touched it with my hands. I never, like, I don't know how to explain that. I'll just have to show you the product, okay? Number 5 is a charge controller for my solar panel and for electricity coming from my house battery, from the vehicle battery, and charging these batteries that I have for the van, the build. in my van, I have 200 amp hour batteries that power basically all of my lights, like you see there. Lights I have over here. My charging, it charges everything. So for those of you who don't know electricity type of stuff, when you have solar panels, you need a charge controller that basically takes the energy from the solar panels and kind of converts it, I guess you could explain. That way it can go into the battery better. Now the charge controller I have takes solar power from my solar panel up on top, and it also takes charge from my engine and my alternator while the engine is running, and then it charges my batteries inside the van that way. This thing is seriously worth every penny I spent on it. This thing was one of the most expensive things that I bought when building this van build, and it was like $500 and something. Like, it was a lot of money. But honestly, I have used it every single day, whether I knew it or not. I mean, think about it. If it's daylight, it's charging my batteries, and I use my batteries every single day. If the van is running, then it's charging my batteries. It helped me more than I could have explained. You could go on a budget and I think probably get like a cheaper charge controller that only does solar, and then a separate one that only does it from the vehicle power. And I mean, technically that'd be cheaper, but honestly more hassle. I've got the Renogy one. I honestly can't remember what it's called at this point, but it is worth getting. If you're doing a van build, like if you're watching this and you're doing a van build or anything like that, get this charge controller, because it is worth every single penny that you will spend on it. Like, trust me, it is amazing. Okay, so this is my kitchen, but underneath my kitchen down here is where I have all of my batteries and charge controller. So I'll flip on my light and we'll come down in here. So these are my two batteries that are getting charged, and that is the charge controller right there. It is a Renogy and it works incredible. It tells you, you know, this is the alternator charging, letting you know the alternator's charging it. This is the solar, that's the battery type, and if it's charged or not. So now that you've seen and kind of heard about what I've used most while I've been traveling in a van, I want to go over the sixth and final thing. Now, it's not included in the title, but it's kind of like a surprise, right? A camera, dude. Number 6, if I was to have to add number 6, I would say a camera. Now, this isn't a direct product, so I didn't really want to like include it in the number 5 and make it 6. So this is like a bonus. I'd say for a bonus, get a camera, dude. Your phone is awesome, but honestly, if you're traveling around, you're exploring the world, you're seeing things that are away from your home, get a camera to document that. Like, you're going to remember it for the rest of your life. These are incredible experiences. So grab a camera and, you know, make sure you remember all of it. Earlier in this video, I mentioned that I've been on 2 road trips. The first one was into southern Utah and a little teeny bit of northern Arizona. And at that time, I just had a basic DSLR camera. And, you know, I took some great photos with it. I had a lot of fun with it. But by the time I got back and getting ready for my second road trip, I was like, you know what? I want a new camera. And so I went and bought a nicer one. And I'm actually filming on it right now. Hey! This is my camera. This is a Sony a6700. It's a great little camera. I've liked it so far. It was about $1,400, so it wasn't cheap, but it was worth getting. I recommend, like, invest in a camera, man. Invest in something that you can make memories on. The camera is gonna be what makes your memories last longer. For me, it's hard to remember every single thing that happened for 40 days straight when every day is filled with adventure, because my travels were seriously filled with like hiking every single day or exploring some crazy location every single day. And you know, 40 days of that, so it gets jumbled around. So when I had my camera and taking photos, dude, I can look back through the photos of the days with all the dates on them and everything, and I'm like, dang, I forgot about that, or just relive the moment a little bit, you know? Investing in a camera is a great way to just, I don't know, it's like investing in your trip a little more. Plus, if you're anything like me, start a YouTube channel, make some money off of it. Just saying. Alright, so those are the 5 most used things that I used while living in my van for around 70 days. Paper towels, dish soap, the Chug Jug, basically just a water jug, Apple CarPlay stereo, and the charge controller. All of those I honestly could not live without while traveling in a van. So if you're deciding to do any sort of travel in a vehicle, I highly recommend that you invest the time and the effort to make sure that those 5 things are gonna be inside of your build. Now, things like paper towels and like the Chug Jug and dish soap, those aren't hard to worry about. That's really quite simple, honestly. But then there's the Apple CarPlay stereo and the charge controller. I highly recommend you guys just get the nice ones, because personally, I'm someone who goes really cheap on whatever I can. And the one thing I didn't go cheap on was the charge controller. And at this point, it's worked out for me. Like, I would spend double what I spent on it. So just saying, if you guys have seen my channel, if you followed my channel at all, you'll know I'm cheap. Like, it's not good, I'm cheap. I need to work on that. But that's something that I did spend money on, and if I'm willing to spend double on that, you know it's worth getting. And then the Apple CarPlay stereo, I did go cheap on that. I got the cheapest one I could possibly find, and look at me now, it don't work. So get a nice one of those as well. It's definitely worth getting a nice one. So yeah, I hope you guys learned a little bit about what I use in my van, what I thought was the most important to mention in this video, and I hope this helps you out if you're deciding to travel, or you're just generally curious about how people like me live in the first place. And for those of you who have been around my channel for a while, you guys, life's getting crazy right now. As you know, I just kind of finished up my last road trip, and it's time to go to Alaska in less than a week. I'm leaving in 6 days. It's Wednesday right now, and I'm leaving on Tuesday next week. First thing in the morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning, my flight leaves. Whew, getting a little nervous about it, you know? It's like, dang, I'm leaving home for 6 months to Alaska? Whew, scary, all by myself. It's wild. So I'm working at that lodge for the next 6 months. It's gonna be crazy. I appreciate y'all for watching. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you all in the very next episode. Also, you should go check out this video that YouTube's popping up right here. They think you'll like it a lot. Trust me, you probably will like it a lot. It's an awesome video because I made it. Thanks for watching. If you're not gonna watch the video, subscribe. Adios.